And tonight, further upheaval in the Middle East as the anti-government, pro-democracy protests have now spread to Syria. Now, tens of thousands have taken to the streets across the country this week, chanting their shared battle cry, God, Syria, freedom. Now, troops have opened fire on protest reports. They have killed dozens of innocent civilians, including at least 2 children. Now, Defense Secretary Gates publicly responded with these statements about the Syrian regime. Take a look.
In some of these countries, Libya is an example, Syria is another example, where authoritarian regimes have suppressed their people and have been willing to use violence against them. I've just come from Egypt, where the Egyptian army stood on the sidelines and allowed people to demonstrate and, in fact, empowered a revolution. The Syrians might take a lesson from that.
All right, but with all the confusion and contradictions coming from this administration about Libya, what will the president do now with another Middle Eastern country on the verge of falling? Joining me now with reaction, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Fox News contributor, USA columnist Bob Beckel is here, and conservative columnist for Human Events and the Daily Caller, Jedediah Bila, is back with us. Bob, the president said Gaddafi has to go. It's a humanitarian crisis. Defense Secretary Gates just said pretty much the same thing, except it's a different country, different leader, same humanitarian crisis, civilians being killed. If we're going to go to Libya, why wouldn't we go here?
Well, first of all, I don't think he did say that Bashir had to go, number one. Number two, let's keep something in mind here. 6 days ago, this offensive started to try to save, and did, in fact, save tens of thousands of lives. Now, you all sit back there and say you criticize Obama. Obama is faced with the most complex series of foreign policy initiatives than any president has faced since the Second World War. More than Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan had that little island that he went into and blew that one. Yeah. But look, now you've got every country in the Middle East pretty much in an uproar. You've got to understand how complex this is, and in an area where they don't like the United States.
It's complex, especially when you say publicly Gaddafi's got to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you pull back and you say he doesn't have to go.
No, he didn't say that. Yes, he never said he doesn't have to go. He did not say that.
There was conflicting messaging coming from within the administration right from the start. From within the administration, Gaddafi's got to go. No, that's not why we're there. Does anyone still know why we're there, what we're going to do, what the strategy is going to be?
6 days. 6 days. Do you understand that? Do you understand how complex this all is? You've got 28 people in NATO, 28 countries in NATO, all of who have to agree. The idea the United States is going to go in there unilaterally and do this and take on the responsibility to get rid of Gaddafi is silly, ridiculous, backward thinking, and also would encourage more anti-American sentiment in the Middle East.
President Obama went in there, and now he wants to pass it off to someone else. Is this going to be the strategy for every country? Are all of these countries that are now going to face dictators, and they're going to need humanitarian aid? How are we going to decide which
let's get our facts straight. The French were the first ones in.
He's willing to let this fail. That is the problem.
Right. He's very uncomfortable, Bob. He's very uncomfortable with the United States taking a leadership position on controversial foreign policy issues. He's not comfortable with it. He's never going to be.
You know, you're right. He's not comfortable. You know why? Do you realize how much the Muslim countries hate us? How much they you don't care?
I don't care.
We get over 50% of oil from there, and you don't care.
Well,
the idea that this guy is trying to figure out a way. The fact that the Arab League came along with this thing and endorsed it, and you get NATO behind it, the idea of the United States having to do this by themselves is counterproductive and would set us back even farther than we have in that region.
Jedediah, the hardest part for liberals to understand is there's nothing we can do to appease
you can't.
The Islamic radicals that hate us.
These countries dislike what America stands for.
Let me ask you a question, you two. Would you go and get Gaddafi, put boots on the ground and get him? Would you do it?
If I say I'm going to take out Gaddafi, I'm going to take out Gaddafi.
Well, okay, so both of you are on record saying we're land troops and we go into.
Well, then we're going to drill here so we're not dependent on foreign sources of oil. And 3.
I want to be sure I understand your position. You're saying that you two say we ought to put American troops on the ground, attack.
My position is, listen, if you say you're going to take out Gaddafi and then you don't, what kind of message does that send?
How do you know it's not going to be taken out? It's been 6 days. He will be gone. He will be gone within a month.
Are we there to take him out? Are we not there to take him out?
The end product is, of course, we want to take him out. The question is whether you want to try to hold a coalition together that is going to give you some support. We've got now a couple of Gulf states involved using their planes. That's a big deal. This is the first time.
Show the conflicting. I don't want to get. We have Frank Luntz in the next segment. Hang on. We're going to show the tape of how inconsistent they've been. So I don't want to duplicate it in this segment. Let me show you President Obama. He had a little problem this week, and maybe it's symbolic of his presidency. There he is. That's his White House. That's that Oval Office. And hang on, that door's locked. Let me see. Hello. Hello. Why are you laughing? Let's go to another door here. Hang on, let me try this one. Yeah, oh, darn it. Yep, hang on, I see another door at the end. Let me walk right up here, and there we go. Oh, thank goodness. Home sweet home.
Is that your idea of a funny ha-ha for Friday night?
Wait a minute. When George Bush had a hard time getting out the door and he pulled it, it wouldn't open, liberals laughed their heads off.
I didn't laugh about it because I figured he didn't know how to get out of the door in the first place. But look, I think it's funny. It was funny. You ran it. Now we're in the middle. I get back to a very serious issue in Libya, and you two don't know what you're talking about, and that's understandable for most conservatives.
We're not going to agree on it. Let me ask you this. Donald Trump brought up the issue of the birth certificate. And it's getting huge buzz around the country. Even Chris Matthews has called for, the birth certificate to be released. Why can't they just release the birth certificate, and just move on? Why don't they just get it?
You're not falling for that. First of all, Donald Trump ought to release the guy who put that funny rag in his head, number one. We can start with that. And then...
Bob, don't talk like that.
What do you mean don't talk like that? He starts to talk about birthers when now he's playing with the idea of running for president. Donald Trump, president of the United States of America. Gee, would that make you feel good?
It would make me feel better than President Obama, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Listen, I got to tell you.
Donald Trump?
Sure. I'll take Trump over Obama.
Oh, my God, man. You've had a long week. You need a little rest.
There aren't many people.
I mean, that is crazy.
There aren't many people I wouldn't take over.
Sarah Palin?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Hands down today. Hands down.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. Executive experience, strong leadership skills. What's the problem?
I feel like I've landed in Oz.
Energy.
I mean, what is this?
What's the problem?
Let me go through
We're
the
off to see the wizard here.
She will cut taxes, not raise. Hang on.
And
she will drill, baby drill. And will be energy independent, move towards it. Number 3, she will have a coherent, stronger national defense posture. Number 4, she won't bankrupt the country.
You know why it will be a stronger defense policy? Because she can see the Soviet Union from her back door. That's the reason she can do that. And by the way, could you please tell your friend from Minnesota, who she was pleasant to me. What's her name?
I don't want to hear you. Anyone else you want to take shots? You want to call me ugly before we go?
No, I don't think you're ugly at all. I don't think you're. I think you've lost your mind on occasion.
Lost my mind.
No, you're fine.
Let me tell you, Sean,
I'm not insulting.
What any presidential candidate on the GOP side needs to do, draw a line between President Obama's record and his rhetoric, and any one of those candidates can beat
I'm willing to bet each one of you $1,000 right now. You don't have a single candidate that can touch Obama.
Not true.
$1,000 you're on.
Okay, $1,000. You on for 1,000?
I'm on.
All right. Coming up, the Obama administration can't seem to keep their story straight about Libya. Frank Luntz, he's going to examine what we were just talking about, this doublespeak coming out of the White House, that and much more. Coming up straight ahead. It has been almost a week since the international coalition launched the military campaign against Gaddafi's regime in Libya, but the Obama administration, well, they can't seem to stay on track with their message. And here to examine what was said and, more importantly, what it means is the author of the brand new book, Win, president of the Word Doctors, the one and only Frank Luntz. Mr. Luntz, welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, let's start with the mixed messages that the administration sent on Gaddafi. Let's roll this.
Gaddafi's presence, continued presence in Libya is something that has got to end.
It is time for Gaddafi to go.
It is U.S. policy that Gaddafi needs to go.
This is not about going after Gaddafi himself.
What's in our interest, again, is working with the international community to stop an urgent humanitarian crisis, and then working over time through a set of pressure tools and with a broad coalition to increasingly isolate and put pressure on Gaddafi.
All right. Get Gaddafi, don't get Gaddafi. Get Gaddafi. I've never seen anything this incoherent.
Well, Sean, that phrase, Gaddafi needs to go, there's nothing unclear about it. It's delivered in a matter-of-fact way, very short words, very declarative, very aspirational, and all of a sudden, they're starting to go back on those words. There's a tremendous danger in foreign policy when you are shown to say one thing one day and you change your policy the next. If there is that inconsistency, it breeds insecurity, not only among Americans, but among allies all across the globe.
All right, now let's look as the administration, sort of like with Mubarak. First they supported Mubarak, then they became neutral, then they opposed him. I mean, it was incoherent there. This is now becoming a trend with the administration, and I want you to examine the words of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as we sort of back off our role in all of this.
Events have moved very quickly, so let's be clear about where we stand and how we got here. From the start, President Obama has stressed that the role of the U.S. military would be limited in time and scope. Today, we are taking the next step. We have agreed, along with our NATO allies, to transition command and control for the no-fly zone over Libya to NATO. As long as the Gaddafi regime threatens its people and defies the United Nations, we must remain vigilant and focused.
In the last segment, we showed Hillary saying it's time for Gaddafi to go, and President Obama saying it's time for Gaddafi to go, and that was last night.
Well, I'm focused on three words. Let's be clear here. 4 words. Whenever someone says, let's be clear, it means that they haven't been up to that point, or it means that they're actually changing their minds or changing the message. That the challenge now for this administration, and this is not a matter of Republican or Democrat, and I do want to say this, Sean, and I think it's a legitimate point. Because it's Barack Obama, Republicans don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. They are demanding of him that he be crystal clear. If this had been a Republican making these decisions, I think that the Republicans might have held him to a slightly different standard. And on the Democratic side, when he's showing military force, most Democrats are against military force, so he's got problems on his left side as well.
Yeah,
it explains why. Go ahead.
But I don't think any conservative, if the message were clear, if we were going to get Gaddafi, if we explained it to the American people, I think it was Rush who said earlier today, and I thought this was pretty profound, he spent more time on ESPN than he has explaining to the American people why we're engaged in a war, not a kinetic military action, in Libya.
And that's a legitimate point. And by the way, I've never heard anyone use the word kinetic. When I heard kinetic, I thought that's what happens when you stick your finger in the socket and your hair goes up. Yeah. I don't understand the language that he's using. It's not meant to communicate anything except confusion to the American people, and just maybe they have confusion at the White House so they can't make up their minds.
If he was using Lund's terms, it would be, the simple truth is we needed to protect the people that were under fire. End of sentence. All right, let's go to Obama himself. And again, it reinforces this narrative that it's confusing, it's mixed messages. Watch him now as he evolved.
Part of this effort, the United States will contribute our unique capabilities at the front end of the mission to protect Libyan civilians and enable the enforcement of a no-fly zone that will be led by our international partners.
As I said initially, our job was to take our unique capabilities and create a space to shape the environment so that the operation of a no-fly zone could operate effectively.
Now, back to his original statement, it is U.S. policy that Gaddafi needs to go. Big difference.
You've got that other phrase, and you've got the other phrase, to shape the environment, which is basically, I don't want to say that they're weasel words, but it's to allow him wiggle room. And when you get into a military conflict, as we're in right now, where American lives are at stake, you don't want that wiggle room. You want crystal clear communication. You used the phrase, Sean, the simple truth. If Barack Obama had said the simple truth and then it explained clearly, crystal clearly, what this was about and how long it would last, I think he'd have significantly more support than he does right now.
All right, Frank Luntz, the simple truth is this policy is incoherent. Let not your heart be troubled. Our great, great, great American panel is next.